But we were wrong. You see, they saw us as savages, inferior beasts. We accepted them. Some of us more apprehensive, others more willing to accept the beginning and the end, so we walked them right into our cities and saw they steal swords, cut down the roots to our culture. Cause you know conversion was the objective, but this wasn't mathematics. This was predicted. Way before their ships made landfall. Written in our books and printed in our temples. Funny how our biggest weakness was our own prophecies.
Okay, picture this. A young kid who stands 4 inches over 5'3", handsome like a brother. And he proceeds. Why don't you do us all a favor, turn that Spanish shit off? The dark-skinned sister sitting next to you can't possibly like or even understand half the stuff she's listening to. Come on, let's be serious. She's darker than I am. Silent sitting on the downtown number 6 train. It got so quiet, you could almost hear a mouse fart. An older lady walks up to the young man and says, "Excuse me, young brother, but did you keep it down? You're pretty loud." The kid says, "Get what?
Give me a Puerto Rico!"
I'm loud as a Puerto Rican. Now I'm upset. Like, I can't believe this young brother just said that he was loud because he was Puerto Rican, even though you know some Puerto Ricans are pretty loud. So I walk up to the young man and say, "Excuse me, young brother, what does Puerto Rico mean?" Silence. I can see tears about to formulate in his eyes, and for the first time I'm like, yes. I'm so happy that there's a delay on the downtown number 6 train. So I turn around, pick up my backpack, turn back around, tap the young man and tell him, "Rich, poor." Puerto Rico means rich, poor, so please don't be confused by this red, white, and blue you've been forced fed. Let's talk about your red, yellow, and green. Red for the blood that was shed from your ancestors, the yellow for the gold that was found on this ports, and the green for your land that's so fertile. Because before it was called Puerto Rico on Columbus' second voyage, because you know he missed it his first time around, it was called Borinquen. Being Puerto Rican doesn't consist of how many big pun or fat Joe verses you memorize, because dead in the middle of a little bit of Italy. Look, some of you are so proud of your culture, but you really don't know Italy. Being Puerto Rican doesn't consist of how many times you picked up your Puerto Rican flag and went to the Puerto Rican Day Parade and waved it at J-Lo. By the way, this bitch ain't been Puerto Rican the last 6 months. And I'm a little sick and tired of them. And I'm just a little Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx. Oh yeah? Let's keep it real. That was the case when I was Jenny from the Block, filmed in LA and not Castle Hill. And gentlemen, for the last time, I know some of y'all are upset, old Ben Affleck and J-Lo thing, but her butt, it's not big. It's wide. She's short. It's all an illusion. Now, it doesn't bother me if you speak Spanish or you don't just know where you're from. Whether it's San Juan, Ponce, Fajardo, Mayagüez, or Orocovis, just know that you're from the land of noble and valiant lords, because you do understand that's what Borinquen stands for. Or the fact that only the male coquille sleeps at night, serenading all islanders to sleep, because the female coquille doesn't sing at all. And when it rains, it's also a part of their mating call. But for me to stand before you and tell you that all Puerto Ricans are horny is not the direction I'm going to take this. But he was too busy making fun of strangers. He was trying to separate his real cousins from his play cousins. But he didn't have time to understand his cousin. So I told him, the next time you rant and rave and hollering and screaming, please understand who's listening. But what makes me most upset was that I shouldn't have to tell him this, because me, I'm Colombian, I'm not Puerto Rican.
A bunch of noble lords. We were a peaceful people on our own accord. There were thoughts from the wise, a war would arrive. The medicine men had foresaw us in the skies. We used to walk around naked except for a nagua painted, wearing shells and other kinds of decorations. We will feast on iguanas, sleep on hamacas, eating cassava and guava, speak with maracas, smoking tobacco, drinking water out of calabash, watching by the waterfall, watching for the caravan. One day, huracan brought a storm from the ocean, and when the sky opened up, I saw them approaching. Red cross on the flag, flying from the ship, stepped on the shores with iron in their grips, claimed our land in a language we didn't understand. Still we gave them gifts as we stood in the sand, extended our hands to get cut by the blades of the swords as they laughed and swore they had it made. Their white skin illuminated by the lightning. We had never seen this type of thing. It was frightening. Glinted off the glare from the armor that they wore. Thick-bearded conquistador carnivores riding on top of a four-legged beast. We prayed they turn around and start heading to the east. Many of my tribe awoke from banana leaves, soaked in insanity, focused on strategy, because it was madness how we were labeled as savage and they stole our land in the name of St. John the Baptist. They took our women for exotic, marveled at their shapes, at the beauty in their face and all upon their waist. They said there was a tribute that you have to pay. Bring the gold where we stay or your fingers go away. Anyone over 14 was expected to give auto or cotton or part with a limb. See, we had broke bread so we couldn't comprehend. Thought that these beings were gods and not men. Even though we were friendly, they'd steal all our zemis and raided our crops till our fields were all empty. And this was before we even knew machetes. They went and ate up all the yuca and the yucayeke. And pretty soon our children were starving too. After we had showed them how to grill fish on a barbecue, they wanted to hate us, degrade us, waste us, enslave us, rape us, mate us. But we heard the drums playing in the distance, and we gathered at the bate in an instance, calling on the warriors, the proud and the brave, waiting for the sun and moon to come out of the caves, wondering what would come next out of the waves, showering our festivals with gunpowder ablaze, dancing with my ancestors, preparing for battleships, broke out our war club, put poison on my arrow tips. You must have heard us, or wanted to unearth us, but how many murders would it take to convert us? They set the wild dogs loose upon the people. We had never seen humans so cruel and so evil. Killed our caciques, so we fled to the mountains. Took their forts down and they came back with thousands. Disease was spread wherever we breathed. The amount of devastation one couldn't conceive. And they would leave and then come back again. Eventually, they started bringing Africans. The Spanish forbade their religious practices, so they hid their gods behind saints that were Catholic. Forced to work in a foreign land, farming sugar cane. Some escaped and we joined together to break the chains. But our weaponry couldn't match their technology. Story of our lives, horrible atrocities. One day when I found out they burned my boheel, I quickly turned around and went down by the hill. Made it to the canoe as the cannonballs flew. Slid off into the night, said a prayer to Yoka'u. Moved my people deeper in the jungle on the island. Now my bloodline lives on and still surviving. Pointing out directions to descendants in the afterlife. And pretty soon I'm coming back for my paradise. Peace.
To believe that they were a peaceful people. The ones who read the stars and mapped the heavens. That they were one with the earth, living harmoniously, deeply spiritual. Believing the gods created them from corn. Worshipping deities of the sun, the moon, fertility, and the rain. So Spain came. Tall ships toting La Santa Biblia, gunpowder, and disease transporting heathen who saw these peaceful tribesmen as savage demons without soul, therefore justifying the slaughter and the claiming of their land and gold. But this is a slanted version, only a partial truth. A truth buried deeper than my ancestral roots, shrouded in mystery and draped with over 1,000 years of bejuco vines and tropical growth roots that are soaked in the blood of brutal warfare. As kingdoms attacked neighboring tribes, taking captives and keeping them alive till it came time for the rituals of human sacrifice. Where hearts were ripped out of chest cavities one by one and held up still beating toward the sun as offerings to the gods. Tikal, Uxmal, Chichen Itza, and Copan are among the sacred areas and temple cities with which my spirit roams. In vivid dreams I've seen where the clues lay hidden, where the answers are written. As my fingers trace the etchings of a hieroglyphic staircase exposed by erosion, depicting the past. I hear whispers that ask, what do you do as the world is unraveling? What do you do